I just wanted to say one more point. You asked, should these people continue to elect the same people? They have no option. Because in South Africa, the day that you elect the DA or any white party,
it's still a race thing, not an ideology thing.
For me, it's a race thing, and I'll explain to you why.
Okay.
The race that we're competing against is about its race. And they will protect their race at all costs. They will use legislation. They will use institutions to control.
They will get favorable black people to be their faces.
The moment that you vote them into a national government and put them in coalition in that national government, their level of tenacity, their level of discipline, their level of organization and strategy will eventually make them outmaneuver the black party that they'll be in coalition with, and they will then hold on to power forever. And then they will use all sorts of tactics, institutions, unfair laws to keep black people out of the political space. Because they've already done it economically.
And black faces?
Economically, you can see that South Africa has been free for 28 years. But the South African economy has not changed, according to a Stellenbosch study that says 93% of the economy of South Africa is still in the hands of whites and Indians. And black people, including the foreigners, only control 7%. They've been able to do that economically. Imagine what they can do when you give them political power and they control the military, they control the police, they control institutions. Right now, they've satisfied or forced black people, Kodongwa, to say that all of a sudden now there's no more BEE in state-owned enterprises.
He's the Minister of Finance.
Yes.
Enoch Kodongwa.
State-owned enterprises must no longer adhere to BEE. Yet 98% of all contracts of those institutions goes to whites, but it's time to do away with BEE. How ignorant is that?
Do you believe the DA would use black faces?
Yes, they would use black faces, but once they're in power, and once they've got sufficient power like they do in Cape Town, in the metro in Cape Town and the Western Cape, they won't need those black faces anymore. They will be able to have a democratically elected apartheid government that will then get the protection of the UN, get the protection of its Western allies with what is called a democratic mandate. You don't want to be in a situation like that with white people, because then you're becoming Australia, you're becoming United States, and under those conditions, they can do anything.
Do you not think the ANC and the EFF are black faces for a white agenda?
No. I'll explain to you why. The EFF and the ANC are still black people. I think they're not stupid enough not to know that white people hate them, and white people would do anything to destroy them if they get the opportunity. Julius knows that if white people had their way, they would send him to jail. ANC members know that they could be sent to jail. If they've got money, they'll be sent to jail for corruption under frivolous conditions by white people. They know that. And they also know that if a DA comes into national power and is able to start influencing institutions of the state, able to influence prosecuting authorities, able to influence the police, investigations, and soldiers, chances of any of the ANC black faces ever sitting at the table with them are very low, because a lot of them will be destroyed by the use of institutions and courts to arrest a lot of the black people that have got money, so that they will never be able to fund future politicians and future political parties or a re-rising of black people. That's what they do in Western Cape. Western Cape is a place where black people have a ceiling. You get a professional level, to a certain point you have to leave and come to Joburg, because you're not going to go any further, because they won't allow you to continue to progress, to create a middle class and a society of elites or captains of industry who have the power to influence institutions, companies, and people who will take over for power or challenge them for power. So white people destroy competition. I've heard that
the Western Cape is tough for black people.
Yes, and in South Africa will be tough as Western Cape if the DA gets anywhere close to national power. They will utilize their might, their business community, white capital, to manipulate. Look in banking. We've no black bank till today. Why? Yet the policymakers are black, because they use their power within these institutions to continue white domination and white monopoly. If we put them in power, if we put democratic apartheid in power, we must know that it's over, and black people will suffer like they've never suffered before.